Some of you are triggered right now.
The first time.
Hello everybody, this is Nathan Nelson with Stillwater Outdoors. So, you clicked on this video and your palms are probably starting to sweat. You're getting anxious and the tension is rising and you're starting to froth at the mouth. We're going to talk about bait piles. I wanted to mention that just this last week, I saw a post on Facebook, and this is kind of what's sparking a lot of this conversation here at this point. I saw a post that this guy shot a really nice buck, and the picture was right next to a big giant corn feeder, huge, like giant corn feeder. And so everybody in the comments section was like freaking out at this dude. And was, you're the worst hunter, you just baiting him. You know, and it got me all like thinking, okay, maybe this is a conversation that we need to have. Are bait piles evil? So first things first, let's talk about some of the benefits and some of the drawbacks of having bait piles. So the first benefit of a bait pile is that it is a high attraction food source. You will draw in deer with corn. The second benefit of a bait pile is that it is much less expensive than putting in food plots, so you can do it on a budget. The third advantage is that it concentrates deer movement, so it's going to give you a much better shot opportunity at an animal. You can put it into a place that you want them to go. Now let's talk about some of the drawbacks of bait piles. The first thing is that it's going to create a very high pressure environment where there's a lot of human scent going in and out to throw out the corn, unless you can put out a big feeder and then you don't have to check it very often. But if you have to put out bait manually in a spot all the time, it's going to create a higher stress environment. The second disadvantage of bait piles is that it obviously creates a situation where there's the potential for the spread of disease. I don't know if it happens really all that often, but there's always the chance when you put a bunch of deer noses in the same place that they could get the same thing. I don't know. The third drawback to bait piles is that sometimes it means hunters don't have to use as much woodsmanship skills to get close to deer. They can just put out corn and there you go, there you have it. But I will say, those that are very successful with corn piles have very good woodsmanship skills. So that's kind of a toss-up. The fourth drawback of bait piles is that there can become this thing called bait pile wars. In other words, a bunch of guys start throwing out bait piles and everybody's competing to get the same deer. And the final disadvantage of baiting is that obviously it could present the temptation to do things unethically. In other words, you put out more corn than you're legally supposed to, or hunting over it after hours because you got a buck that's showing up after hours. I mean, there's all sorts of ways that it could create a temptation for people. Some of you are really triggered now. Just take a deep breath. So here's my 2 cents. First of all, is it legal where you are at? If it's not legal, don't do it. The second thing, do you actually enjoy that style of hunting sitting over a corn pile? If you do, and it's legal in your area, you have every right to do it. If you don't enjoy it though, why are you doing it? Now my preference is to not hunt over bait. I like to see deer naturally in their normal environments moving how they would normally move. But I do use bait piles in a way that makes me much more efficient and effective in my hunting style, and it puts me in opportunities to kill a big deer. Now, this is a very big advantage in an area like where I live, the big woods. You might be lucky without a corn pile to see a 100-inch deer the whole season. It's really hard hunting here. With a corn pile, there might be a chance that one time during the season, maybe twice if you're really lucky, that you actually see 125 class buck or bigger. We're not talking about like all of a sudden you throw out the corn and, oh yeah, it's just so easy. The big bucks come running in every time. It's like a zoo. No, it's not a zoo. Give me a break. You gotta work your tail off to get a deer to come in with a bait pile. And you gotta know what you're doing if you're gonna be really successful with it. So it's my preference to not use it. But I want to make something clear here. We spend a lot of time as hunters ripping each other apart over our style that we think is so much better than everybody else, because everybody's cheating because I never shoot anything nice. And if I got to use what they used, then I would be cheating. No, wait. It gets confusing, guys. I don't know if you've noticed, but we live in a world where a lot of people like to bash each other all day long. That's all they do. That's what they live for. We don't need to be that as hunters, okay? Get out there and enjoy the woods. Do what you love to do. Hunt legally, ethically, and smart. And I'm telling you what, if we do that, guys, we're going to have a wonderful Sorry, got something in my throat. So if we as hunters can come together on our commonality of hunting deer and not on our preferences of styles of hunting, I think that's going to go a long ways for us. So let's get back to this question here. Is it evil? If it's illegal in your area, then absolutely it is illegal. Wait. If it is illegal in your area to use bait, then it is, in fact, evil to throw out a bait pile. But if it is legal in your area, not evil. Okay? Can we just agree on this? I'm sure the comments are going to be crazy. But let's be clear on this, guys. Preferences are not what makes something good or bad, or evil, or right, or wrong. I personally believe that what makes something right or wrong is what God says in His Word, okay? And if He tells us that we're supposed to respect the authorities over us, and they're telling us not to use a corn pile, that makes sense to me. But if the authority over you is saying, go for it, let's put out some bait piles. Or let's not put out some bait piles. Let's get out and hunt. Let's just go have some fun. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go have some fun. All right, see you guys out in the woods.